Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and today, back with another video here. And, as you kind of realized by looking at this right now, I'm using a completely different software to record. I'm going to try to do some things differently. I wanted to test this out and see if it will work, so I'm recording through my computer. So if it sounds a little different, or obviously I might look a little bit different, the quality might not be as good. But one thing I wanted to talk about today, and I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, I've just been so busy with things going on, and the special teams clearly wasn't the best thing for the Flyers this year. It was a huge issue. It was worrisome when the team went on the penalty kill, and you pretty much knew when the power play was coming up that they probably weren't going to score. Just for the numbers overall, they were 17th on the power play with a 19.5%. They had 33 power play goals for 139 power play attempts. The penalty kill was second to last in the league at 30%, or at 30th, I should say, 73.1%. 45 power play goals against, and they had 167 minutes they were shorthanded. So, yeah, the penalty kill was dreadful. I could sit here and probably make like a 10-minute video on each, but honestly, starting off with the penalty kill, it was so good last year. I mean, it was literally fantastic. And you look at the PK this year, and one thing I always noticed was slot chances. The Flyers must have given up. Oh my God, it felt like every single game the team had a glorious chance in the slot on the power play against the Flyers. They would let guys walk in real tight. They'd have all this room. They'd pass the puck around like it was nothing. The Flyers had trouble getting the puck out of the zone many times. I remember there was an instance back in early March, and there's a play with Braun. And I remember this so vividly because I remember I was doing a live stream on Instagram, and I'm sitting there. It's a game against Washington at home. Flyers ended up losing the game. And Braun fails a clear. Right? All right. He fails one. He gets it again. And then he sends it right around the boards, goes right to Ovechkin. What do? They set it up, shot, score. And it's just one of them things where, like, we've seen that many times. Guys in front of the net, Myers and Sanheim were literally getting smoked in front of the net. And those guys are huge. We talked about that all year. But the penalty kill, like, they weren't consistent. There wasn't as much aggressiveness. At times they had sticks in lanes. At times they pretty much let them do whatever. They were patient when they probably shouldn't have been. And it cost the Flyers a lot. They had a lot of stupid penalties this year. Penalties that just were not needed. They were just completely unnecessary. A lot of holds, hookings, a couple, just penalties that you should not be taking. And a lot of those were some of the younger guys, like Aube-Kubel took a lot of penalties this year. So that's where you kind of hope you get the rebound with that. But then again, like, the penalty kill needs to improve. And I think, again, one of the reasons why the Flyers aren't necessarily going into this huge, like, oh, let's just fire everybody is because of last year. I mean, the penalty kill was, I believe, 11th in the league last year. And it was really good. And again, it was one of the Flyers' strong suits. I mean, they had a handful of shorthanded goals. He only had 2 shorthanded goals this year. And those came late in the year when they were already out of it. So it looked like for a while there that they weren't going to score a single shorthanded goal all year. But again, I don't mind the penalty kill setup. I just think that there's some tweaking they could do. I think the pairs could be different. I really don't like the Sanheim-Myers pairing on the penalty kill. I don't really like that as a pairing in general. But I think a lot of that's probably going to get switched. As for the power play, I've said this so many times, they need one unit, they need to load it up, and the other unit you can kind of just try to fill in there and try to put all your best players in. Because, again, the Flyers have a lot of good guys they could use in the power play. That second unit, you could throw, majority of half the roster. For the first unit, regardless of who's even here next year, say, the Flyers still have Voracek. Just for this sake, let's just say the Flyers have Jake, JVR, and Gostisbehere. They probably won't, but who knows. If they have those 3, I think they should do the power play where it's Giroux in his normal spot, Jake in his normal spot, JVR in front of the net, Couturier in the slot, and Ghost at the point. I've said that all year. Load it up, let Ghost just fire bombs from the point, and just work your magic. What they used to do when Simmons was here was they would just have the pass across, the pass to the middle. We saw that at times this year with Allison, where they would get that pass across. Allison would kind of play net front. Last year, we saw them kind of use the double net front presence, which started to work and it started to heat up as a 9-game winning streak was starting to form late last season. But again, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that could be switched with that. I want them to just simplify it. I mean, I know everybody likes to talk about how, like, you know, power plays are predictable. Every power play is predictable. I think the Capitals have had the same power play setup for the last decade. Like, they literally do the same thing. And no team can stop it because it's that deadly. It's either you have Oshie in the slot, Carlson at the point, or Ovechkin, and either one of the three is going to shoot, and I'd argue 75% of the time it's Ovechkin. So, like, majority of it, the Flyers need to be, I think, more aggressive on it. I don't think they shoot enough. I think they kind of wait for the perfect play. We saw that last year in the playoffs. We saw that a lot this year. Their zone entries are garbage. I mean, it's the one thing I always notice. And whenever they lose the faceoff, they can't seem to get back into sync where they can even set it up. So I honestly have no idea. I'd like to see Allison in the slot next year. I talked about that before with Bill Meltzer, where we both kind of thought he should be in the slot, but he was at the side of the net, which I didn't mind, but I think just for him to get his shot off would be good. I've talked about using Voracek in the slot. You could, but I'm not necessarily sure the Flyers will do that. I don't know. I would like to see it. But again, I think for the most part, I feel like if York is here, and I most likely think he's going to be, he's probably going to be quarterbacking power play too. So that's definitely something to look at. You have Konechny, you have Hayes, you have Patrick, you have Lindblom, you have Farabee. Like, you have all of these options. So I think there's a lot of things you could do with the special teams. But again, it was a huge, just a terrible thing for the Flyers this year. And I think if some of those aspects were a little bit higher, like if the penalty kill was middle of the pack, the Flyers wouldn't have been as bad, on paper, but on the ice, they still would have looked bad. So who really knows? But again, guys, thank you all for the support. I know there's been a lot of stuff lately. I haven't necessarily been putting out a lot of content lately, but I'm trying. I know I was kind of taking a little bit of a break, but getting back into it. So we got Don't Panic. Episode 5 is coming tonight. Or I should say this afternoon. Me and Yuri were doing that around 4:30. So that'll be a live stream on YouTube. And as always, guys, remember, podcast articles, those links are on my channel. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.